Good morning, ladies and gents. I'm going to start this off by telling you need to follow us on social media. That's Living with This on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We love to hear you guys' comments and chats and even what you'd like to see on the show. Now, with that said, we're talking about social media and how it's completely taken over our worlds. And you know, for the most part, it's actually a great thing because through social media, we're able to promote and push for causes that we believe in and build brands, and we're able to build businesses off of that. But there's also the downside to it, which is that we end up being very stressed and sometimes depressed over the kind of cyberbullying that exists on there, comparisons that take place, or just feeling that you can't really find your way or your footing through this. So here's a quick quote for you, and that is, "We won't be distracted by comparison if we are captivated with purpose." And that was said by Bob Goff. But here's the thing, that's not always easy, and it can be a struggle if you happen to be on social media. Now, our two guests are these beautiful ladies who are actually best friends. The first is Kendi Thagwambi, who is 26 years old. She's a fashion stylist and personal shopper and has a passion for fashion, food. She's actually a vegan, which I actually want to get into, and fitness. And then there's her best friend, who's Agnes Kirigo, who's also 26 years old, an advocate of the High Court of Kenya, and a health and fitness fanatic. She uses social media to inspire and motivate people. Welcome to the show, ladies.
Thank you.
First of all, I just love how drastic the two of you are, placed against each other, or next to each other, rather. Like, one is, I guess, you know, very composed with a black dress and heels, and you are the vixen.
Fashion stylist. I mean, I can't help it.
I love it. I love it. And actually, we were even chatting before, and you were saying how people often don't expect that the two of you are best friends.
Yeah, that's true.
That's so interesting. So tell me, Kendi, when did you start using social media?
I think the first social media platform I got onto was Facebook, and that was right after high school in 2009.
Okay.
And that was just to catch up with my friends. What are you doing with your life now?
Yeah.
And that was fun. So I was probably 17 or 18, I can't remember. But it was Facebook before all these others came up.
Okay, and you, Agnes?
It was actually the same.
Facebook?
Yes, Facebook, immediately after high school, back in 2009. So I remember using my sister's phone because she was in uni at that time. And Facebook was the in thing. I really wanted to be on it. I wanted to chat. I wanted to post and see what people are doing. So that was my first ever interaction,
And what was your relationship with social media at the time? Did you feel any kind of nervousness about posting, second-guessing things, or was it just meh?
At the time, it was so much fun.
Yeah.
Actually, now when I scroll back to where it all began with my status updates and just writing down any thought that comes to my mind, and right now I don't think I'm capable of that. And it was a lot of fun that time because I think also the people I interacted with at the time were people I knew out there. It wasn't like new people I was meeting on Facebook. I actually connected with the same people I knew in person.
Friends. You've said something that it was a lot of fun back then, and you didn't have to think much about it. And I can relate to that because I too, I think I used to even like I just post anything on Facebook. Was my first one too, and you didn't really have to think twice before posting. But what do you think about that, actually, Agnes? Was it the same for you? And if so, looking back at some of the posts that you put up, are you like, yeah, I'm fine with all the things I shared?
You know, nowadays Facebook has a feature which reminds you 5 years ago you posted this, and I'm like, wow. Okay, I was sharing too much. Back then, there's no much hiding. There's no privacy.
Yeah.
I think it was all about focusing on interactions, on interacting with lost friends from primary school, from high school. So you could just post anything, make friends with anyone, any stranger, and not care much about it. Though right now, it's a bit different. You cannot just go ahead
post
and post anything.
So looking back, and I want to pose this to you too, Kendi, looking back, do you feel like, knowing what you know now, would you have posted all the things that you posted back then as quickly as you did?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Because I think with years of using social media, I've come to realize that people judge a lot, and so even before I put anything out, I'm like, I'm already anticipating judgment, and so I'm trying to, you know, avoid that by trying to appear perfect, or, you know, really polish everything up, unlike back then when it was just anything comes, you throw it out there. Exactly.
And I want to ask this to you, even though I don't know if you'd have, like, I don't think you necessarily have the actual factual answer, but I want to understand from your perspective, do you think it's that people weren't as judgmental back then as they are now? Or do you think that the world was kinder? Or do you think the same things and the same thoughts took place, it's just people weren't as quick to voice them and to just, you know, offer their opinion? What do you think?
I think people were kinder. I don't know, there's something about social media and everyone posting their best life that makes you take a step back and, like, try to understand, why is this person's life this way and mine isn't? So then you'll find even trolls will want to say something negative to at least bring you down. I don't know, I don't understand why it's different, but I just know it's totally different now.
Okay, and you?
I also think, just like anything new, it's always exciting. Everyone wants to explore it and have fun with it. So Facebook was all about having fun, sharing your life experience, interacting with people from all over the world. But I think as years or as time went by, there are these people who now we refer to as trolls, who now thought, okay, so this thing, how can we use it to make it a negative thing? I don't understand what goes through such people's minds, but I think I don't even know how we can address such people because they don't understand them.
And I'm not even sure we can fully understand, but what we can do is just focus on what we know as our truth and our journey, and just know that they will be there and that they're supposed to be that noise at the back of your head, but don't give them much notice. I think I would also say the same, that I think people have become more vicious online, and it's almost as if it's a muscle that's been strengthened over time. So one person says something, you see that they've gotten so many comments, people are laughing, there's so many reactions, and then someone starts to think, oh, they're getting that, let me see what I can get out of it too. And they start, so you start training that muscle, and the next thing you know, it's a weird space we're living in. So what was the next social media platform that you joined after Facebook?
For me, it was Instagram.
Okay.
In 2012. I don't know whether I was a late bloomer.
I don't think it was a late. Are you no, there's people who are joining Instagram today.
Well, I joined Instagram in 2012 and I've never looked back.
Okay. So is that your favorite platform?
It's my favorite.
Okay, what about you, Kendi?
Well, for me, I joined in 2013. I remember very early on in the year. But then I had that account for 2 years and I deleted it. Actually, due to anxiety and depression caused by that same social media.
Caused by Instagram?
Caused by Instagram.
Can you take me through that?
I remember I joined in 2013. I was very active in school. I was a student leader, so it was a nice platform to share all the activities we'd planned for the school. And then in 2015, I graduated uni, and there's usually that stage that a lot of us go through, like after uni. Now what? You know, and so I'm on Instagram and I'm seeing all these people, they're flourishing, you know, their careers are just blooming, they're doing all these nice things, and I took a step back to be like, why isn't my life progressing like this? And so I remember taking photos and never having the courage to post them, because it's like, even if I post this, it's not real. Or if I post my reality, then I'm going to be judged for it. And I remember just wanting to hide. And I deactivated my Instagram account. And I remember I wasn't on Instagram for a whole year. It wasn't until a year later that I opened another account, having changed my mindset and my mentality on social media.
You've said such an interesting thing, and that is you were stuck between these two worlds. The one being, if I post this perfect picture, it's not the reality, and I know it's not a reality. But if I post my reality, I'm going to get judged for it. And so you were living between this two worlds of conflict. And I get why distance was important. Did you ever go through that kind of conflict or disconnect with social media, I guess?
Well, for me, I just wouldn't post.
You wouldn't post?
If I felt I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
Or I'm not yet there.
Yeah.
Because for both of us, it's been about our fitness journey.
Yeah.
So we've been working on it for a few years now.
Yeah.
We're still working on it.
I think it's an it's a never-ending journey. You're constantly working on your health, and yeah.
Yeah. So anytime I felt I didn't live up to the Instagram expectations or world expectations, I just would keep off. I just would keep off from it.
And so what was your expectation when you were joining, say, Instagram now specifically? What did you want from that?
When I joined Instagram, it's only because I had heard of it and everyone was talking about it. So I said, let me just sign in and have my own account and see what people do.
Yeah.
So at first it was just about watching, observing photos of other people from around the world. Then when I started sharing my own photos, I realized, oh, so people are watching, people are keen, people are observing. So when I started my fitness journey is when I realized there are people who are actually following. And outside of social media, I would meet with other people who would, I don't know whether to say it's bullying, but they will see my journey and mock me later in real life. So
were they people you knew?
Yeah, people I know.
And was it like, you know, teasing, or was it serious? Like,
it was teasing, but you know, there's teasing which you question. Is
with
it really
the tinge
teasing?
of like that hit too close to home.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I experienced that, and I was wondering, like, are you my friends? Are you rooting for me?
Yeah.
Do you want me to do better, or what's the real purpose of this?
Yeah, I hear you. And you, Kendi, what did you go into social media expecting?
Okay, now round 2 for me now when I started Instagram again. For Facebook, I'm not that active anymore. But for Instagram, when I went back, it was just after I had lost a ton of weight. I lost 16 kgs while I was still in hiding. So I was like, oh, then I need to inspire people on social media to show them that it is possible. So, and then also to try and be not part of the problem, because at first, remember, I ran away because everyone was busy posting their highlights. Yeah. And so I wanted to be real and post my progress and hope that I can motivate someone. Yeah. So now coming back, it was at a point of motivating people and showing them that it's possible. And then also to encourage women. I am a self-proclaimed feminist. Yeah. So I put a lot of posts about encouraging women to embrace the glorious goddesses they are. Yeah. So basically that's why I'm back on Instagram now, to just mostly encourage people and uplift them in as much as I can. Okay. Using my life as candidly as possible.
Right, I hear you. Okay, so we have to take a quick break, but we'll be back with more from Agnes and Kendi. Welcome back, ladies and gents. I've been talking to Agnes and Kendi about their journey on social media, and we're trying to understand how exactly it can impact your well-being, your day-to-day productivity levels, and your mood in general. Now, the both of you happen to be enthusiasts of food and fitness. So when you came back, that was what you were focusing on. Did you go about being very honest from the get-go with your audience, Kendi, or were you still a little bit reserved?
I was still a little bit reserved because I'm still human, and you want to show off every once in a while. You want to show off your new body.
Yeah.
You want just any amazing thing that happens in your life. You're ready to throw it out there. But then any failure, any setback, no one ever gets to see it.
Yeah.
And actually, that's one thing I want to tell people, that do not compare your behind the scenes with someone's highlight.
Yeah.
So I mean, getting in at first, you know, there was a bit of showing off, you know, there's this, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And then I had to take a step back, and now it's mostly just posting photos that just make people more conscious, more aware of the dangers of social media. Actually, lately, it's so weird that I'm here talking about that, because I think out of the last 10 posts I've done, I think 5 of them have to do with social media and how you have to be careful not to be caught up in that mess.
Yeah, you said something that for me is a tweetable moment, not to be caught up in someone else's highlights, because no one is showing their behind the scenes.
Yes.
Which is so true, because no one is out there saying, hey, 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 today, if you knew how much of a struggle it was to get to work, because, you know, this what didn't come, I didn't have money, or we just went through like a breakup, I'm just tired of like motherhood. No one gets into those nitty-gritties.
Yeah,
you present the best version of you, and also not everyone is entitled to that,
exactly.
to hearing your downfalls, but that was such an important point. For you, Agnes, how did you go about dealing with the people offline who are not being supportive of your journey, and still being able to be yourself online?
I learned that it's okay to cut off some people. I learned it's okay to say no. I learned it's okay to say that I'm beautiful, I'm working on myself, and I know I look good. I learned how to be able to be strong, even online, and actually made my page private, so that I would only be able to post or share whatever I want to share with people who actually care about me, care about my journey, and people who are also in the same kind of journey as I am. So what I post online, I decided to make my page more of fitness and health. I'm also vegan. I've been for some time now. So I decided to make it fitness and health. I just post motivational things and tell people you can do whatever you put your mind to. So anything that you set out to do, just wake up and do it. And I also learned that procrastination really is the thief of time.
Isn't that something that everyone is struggling with? I mean, I know very, very few people who, when they have something to do, they get up and do it right then and there. But I love that your page is there to serve a higher purpose, and that is to motivate other women. So in your case, how do you then go about selecting who to allow to view your page now that it's private?
Well, people I've met. So I usually go for a lot of hikes. So people I interact with during hikes, during boot camp, I can tell these are the people in the right mindset as I am. So these are people I can invite into my life. So there are people I kind of know personally or have met once, or I can see they have the same things that I do.
Okay. Kendi, at some point you were very open about your struggle with body dysmorphia. First, why don't you explain what that is to someone who's watching and they're like, body dysmorphia, what is that?
Body dysmorphia is what most people would call a white people problem, as if us Africans don't have any mental illnesses.
Right. Let's put a pin on that to be discussed another day.
So body dysmorphia is obsessively thinking about a flaw or a defect in your own body that is more often than not imaginary, or is not even that observable to other people. And so it can be anything. It can be scars on your face, it could be acne, it could be the shape of your body, it can be anything.
Your knees, your earlobes, anything.
The tiniest little, you know, details. So for me, it was my waist, I remember.
Yeah.
And having lost a ton of weight, some things happened here and there, and I put on a lot of that weight back.
Yeah.
And so now trying to get fit round 2 is when I started realizing that, oh, my waist should be more cinged. And actually it's social media that brought on that body dysmorphia.
Okay.
Because I was following lots of these Instagram models, you know,
with the tiny
waist, but their lower body
everything else is just like, how are you even able to keep yourself up,
right?
To prop yourself up?
Yes, so I had followed a lot of such people, and it started affecting how I thought about myself and how I viewed myself, which is actually body dysmorphia is a dissonance between how you actually look and your body image, how you imagine you do look.
Okay.
So then I started thinking, okay, no, I need to cinch my waist. What can I do? As in, I even went to the extent of looking for non-invasive cosmetic surgeries to have that fixed. And bear in mind that I had actually lost weight. I had seen my waist cinched in, and now round 2, it's suddenly such a challenge. Why? Because I was watching so many people that are pushing the wrong image. And no offense to anyone that has that kind of body. It's just it's been accepted like the most beautiful kind of body.
That is the definition of sexy. That is the definition of beautiful. That is the epitome of a woman.
Exactly.
And that's true. That's what it is. Whereas before it was a very slender lady. Just now what's, you know, been put on a pedestal. Exactly. Now it's the curves, and I can understand why. Because we're bombarded by these images, that's what we end up thinking is the definition of beauty. So how do you now relate to social media and interact with it so that you can see these bodies and see these women, appreciate it, but still understand that that is not you and you're still beautiful regardless?
Well, the first thing I did was unfollow all those that I thought are fake and everything, so that I don't keep bombarding myself with all that negative image. And then the next thing was to love myself, like self-love by meditating as often as I could. Wake up in the morning, and the first thing I do, it can be anything else but get on my phone and start scrolling. Just to sit down and think about, this is who I am. I am beautiful, I am strong, I work out, I do this and that. Once I accepted that, and then once I go on social media, I detach, and I'm like, this is a show. I'm actually watching a show. Everyone is putting on a show. So whatever I see, whether I'm in pajamas or not, and someone is in the, you know, glam, evening wear and everything, I'm not going to compare myself. So that I don't feel inadequate after 30 minutes of scrolling on Instagram.
Oh, wow. I love that. Agnes, did you ever find that you also at some point wanted to leave social media, or did that never cross your mind?
It never really crossed my mind. What I did was actually the same thing. Anyone who I didn't think was true or realistic, I just unfollowed them. Because there's so many models. First of all, they do not look like us. They go overboard when it comes to their fitness journey. You do research on these people and you realize they're working out 4 hours a day, which is not realistic. They're not eating. So I realized, why don't I be my own model? Why don't I use my page to inspire people and show them what you can do from scratch? So many people were asking me, so for a fitness journey, how long does it take? Can I do this in a month? Can I do this in 2 months? Not telling them there's no quick fix. You have to start from the beginning. You have to be consistent. You have to be disciplined. You have to know your goals. You have to have set goals. You have, even if it's waking up at 5 a.m. or 4 a.m. to go running, you need to have a clear mindset on that. So in social media, I decided to be my own boss and stop following what other people are trying to make me be.
You said a couple of things. The first is that you were following people who didn't necessarily look like you, which is something that we do quite often. We watch shows of people that don't necessarily look like us. Our children read books with girls and boys who don't necessarily look like them, and we're feeding ourselves with these images. So for you to have said, no, we're gonna have to change this up, wow, that I really hope someone who's watching, I'm not kidding, I've actually gotten goosebumps from that. I really hope someone who's watching this right now can take a moment to pause and just wonder, what exactly are you feeding your mind and your spirit? Because whether you realize it or not, it's what influences your perception of the world in general. So now, when you unfollowed all those people, the both of you ladies, did you go about organizing who exactly you want to look up to as role models? Did you have that moment?
Yes.
Okay, so who are some of the people that who inspire you?
Evolve Fitness and Health.
Okay.
She's Kenyan.
Yeah.
She's a bodybuilder.
Uh-huh.
Then we have Renee. She's also, okay, they're all bodybuilders, but
that's so interesting. And what's interesting to note as well is, earlier you said some of these people work out for 4 hours. That's just not your reality.
Yeah.
But that could be their jobs too, because I'm sure for the bodybuilders, that's what they do for a living. They are trainers, and but to also even understand that their reality doesn't have to be yours. But it's interesting that it's all bodybuilders.
Well, it's because they're the women that I see.
I love that.
Them doing that shows me that they are powerful, they are queens, and they can do it. So can I.
I love that. What about you, Kendi?
For me, it's actually all over the place. I won't start mentioning handles because there's so many.
Yeah.
But in general, it's in the line of either fashion, food, or fitness.
Okay.
Food is for veganism, because veganism came from the States, and there's so many, vegans out there. So I follow them to see the recipes they put out there. For fashion, just to get inspiration, what's trending out there. It's necessary that I follow fashion icons like you.
Oh. Stop. But the truth is, I was actually telling the ladies, after this, I go back into my jeans and flats, and I'm like, I can relax. So what do you like about social media now? Because we've talked a lot about the traps, the downfalls, but what do you enjoy about social media now?
I think as social media has grown, so have we. Because the older or the prettier you get, you become wiser.
Right.
So social media, you learn to use it as a positive tool to influence and to make positive change. So you use it to motivate people and just for the good.
Yeah.
So right now it's all about bettering, and whoever is trying to bring negativity, block, delete.
Hello. Out. Excuse me.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. What about you? What do you like about social media, Kendi?
For me, it's getting to learn more in terms of all the same things that I'm interested in, either fashion, food, or fitness. And then also, I get to know successful people out there on a personal level.
Yeah.
Say motivational speakers. I'm actually into motivational speaking,
Okay.
so I follow so many of those big people in the States and the kind of things that they do. So sometimes we're just out there passing time, busy procrastinating, and then you see a post that just tells you, yo, get up, go do something, So for me, social media in that way has impacted me positively. And then also, among others, like those that are about elevating your consciousness, about learning about meditation, etc., etc. And I don't know if YouTube is under social media, but YouTube is
we can include it as part of that. I love that what you've shown right now is that you have the power to edit out the people, the comments, the information that you don't want to have, and the ones that you do want to have. But you need a level of consciousness in order for you to even understand what you're taking in. So just you need to be aware. You need to be aware. Okay, we have to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about Kanye West a little bit, because you can't talk about social media and not bring up Kanye West right now. We'll be back in a moment, ladies and gents. Welcome back. I'm speaking to two best friends who are so different yet so alike in their vision for themselves and how they choose to live their life on social media. That is Kendi and Agnes. Why are you smiling and looking at each other? I feel like I've just interrupted an inside joke. Yes. A best friend inside joke. Yeah, which I'll come back to after the show. But so I want to talk about Kanye West for a bit and about... you know, a couple of days ago or so, he came out very strongly saying that he believes likes and the number of followers that you have should be removed, or you should have the option of removing it, so that you don't live your life online by that number. And you don't, that ceases to matter. Because a lot of what we think, how we choose to put our image out in the world is based off of how many followers do I have, how many likes. What do you think about that?
I agree with him because there's something I call social currency, is where you calculate your value based on the likes you get or the followers you have. Yeah. So already that causes so much anxiety and stress. You know, a photo you love so much is not doing as well as you thought it would, and so you take it down. So I agree, and people out here flossing like, oh, they're successful. You think they're successful because they have many followers, and really that's not the reality. Right. There's so many people who have successful careers, fulfilling careers, and they're not even on social media. Right. So I think if it's removed, it will save a lot of people, a lot of young people, that pressure of feeling valued based off of numbers. So just by that alone, I agree with Kanye.
Okay. What about you, Agnes?
I also agree. I don't have a problem with it because I believe the likes that you get on Instagram or any social media platform nowadays has made many people base their self-esteem on that. So the more likes you get, the higher the self-esteem. Right. The least or the lowest number of likes that you have, the bad you feel. Yeah. So I don't think there's a problem with that. So whoever wants to follow your content, whoever wants to share with you whatever, I think it's okay.
Yeah. I think I don't know. I'm a little confused about that, but you know what? I would love to hear your thoughts. Please hit us up on social media. I know it sounds weird that we're not sure about social media and the effects, but hit us up on social media. Living with Us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. I think that maybe the option of it is fine, but to remove it entirely, I'm just thinking about the number of people who've built brands and businesses off of that, off of the numbers. But I guess in the back end, you could still access your numbers, and if a brand or something wanted it, that you could still provide it. But I'm also just wondering how that would affect an entire branch of businesses in Korea that have been pegged on numbers. But I 100% hear you. There's too many people who are attaching value on the likes. And when you don't get the like, you start to think, oh gosh, what did I...
because of my
what did I do? What did I do? So how has social media affected your relationship with yourself, Agnes?
With myself? Well, I think I have grown with it. As social media has grown and improved, I have also grown and improved. So I've learned what to weed out, what to post, what's important, what's private, and what's for public consumption. So it's been a growth process, and I'm still learning with it. So I don't know whether in 50 years from now, if there'll be something better than Instagram, whether I'll still be on it while I'll be 76.
I don't know if you'll be on Instagram. Actually, in another world, do you think you would be on social media? If looking back at your journey and what you've been able to accomplish and the things that you've gone through, do you think going back you would still start this journey, or would you not even bother?
I wouldn't bother.
You wouldn't
Personally,
bother?
I wouldn't bother. Yeah. Because as it is currently, I take like a 2 weeks break, a 3 weeks break from Instagram, like from everything, and I'm like, you know what? Bye-bye, my online friends. Yeah. It's just me taking in life through my eyes, not on the screen. Okay. So I do that quite a lot, and I wish I never got myself there in the first place. But then when you think about the opportunities and the opportunities that would come up due to Instagram and all and YouTube. I mean, then you're like, no, I could build something out of this. So then it's I don't know. I don't know. But I think social media has changed me personally. It has.
And I think it's also allowed for a lot of issues to be brought to the forefront, whether it's certain injustices or maybe you're building a social enterprise. It's been able to rally like-minded people into pushing for a cause that they believe in, which is a great part of it. But it's just those trolls and then the comparisons that can just sometimes leave this a little bit mucky. So for you, Kendi, how do you balance between being your authentic self, because that's what you're saying, when you came back, you just knew, look, I'm going to leave all that nonsense behind, I'm going to be the real me. So how do you balance between sharing that and also making sure that the feedback that comes from that, because obviously what you're doing is interacting with like-minded people. So how do you go between that and making sure that the feedback doesn't distract you, such that, you know, if you posted about, today I decided to work out for 3 hours, and someone says, I don't think 3 hours is right, and they're entitled to say that, but should you take their advice or should you not? That's what I'm asking. How do you balance between those two?
So for me, it's just trying to be as candid as possible and to capture those moments as they happen. So whether you think it's right or it's not, I also have a say in deciding what's best for me. So your opinion can come in or whatever, but I know what I'm doing. And if it inspires you, well and good. If you don't like it at all, then bye. You know? So I just really, it's all about just loving myself and knowing this is what I want to do. And then also, since I don't want to be the person that makes the next person depressed because of my life, I really think about every post I put out there. It's either to uplift, to empower, to encourage, to motivate. If it's none of that, then it has no reason going up there. If I'm not teaching you anything about styling something or effects of social media, then I have no reason to be putting, you know, the shoes I put on today. Like, it has to have a purpose. So for me, it's just having a purpose. This is why I'm putting this out there. This is the feedback I expect. Yeah, just that.
So you're very clear on your intention, and once you release whatever it is that content is, you let go.
I let go. I'm done.
Okay. Okay. Agnes, what do you wish to see more of online?
Love.
Love. You sound like you know, Pharrell in one of his albums, or I love that. Okay, so why love?
Love brightens the world, makes everyone smile. So I want to see more of positivity. So if you're in a certain line, let's say it's fashion, health, beauty, join people who are in the same industry as you. Uplift each other. Do not go to someone else's industry and try to troll them because you do not understand it. So focus on what you're doing. So that's I'd just like to see more love and people just focusing on what they love and work on it and build on it and just be themselves. Be more open, be more free, and stop putting on a facade. Yeah.
You, Kendi? What do you wish to see more of?
Just what you said.
What you said,
just
love.
What you said,
same
love.
thing.
Yeah, because honestly, sometimes you're scrolling and it's a beautiful, just a beautiful photo. Someone, you know, has whatever it could be, something nice. And then nice comments, and then there's just that one mean comment. Like, where did this come from? Like, what is this person thinking? Who are you?
Like, don't you actually wish, on a serious note, you know what I would love to interview a troll one day. To just have them sit here and understand how it processes in their mind that to say something as mean and rude and thoughtless as they would is okay. And do they wonder how it could impact the person, how it could impact their family?
I mean, say mean things about a child. Like, you're bad-mouthing a 2-year-old. I mean, surely.
You've got to be a certain kind of twisted and sick. So what do you wish to see less of? Besides the trolling, which I think we can all agree we can do without trolls. What would you wish to see less of online?
The fake identities, like just trying to pretend you're someone that you're not. Just own up who you are. Like, just, I mean, yeah, that's all. Just be you.
Be you.
Just be you. I wish people were more real on social media.
So you wish people would be less fake.
Less fake,
yeah.
More real.
More real.
Because I want to see more relatable posts.
Yeah.
I want to see the things I'm going through, or someone else across the street is going through the same thing.
But how do you balance between that and this trend that's coming up? I don't even know if it's fair to call it a trend, but where people are really sharing everything in an effort to be real, and they're being very vulnerable, which is amazing, and that's how people connect. So I hear you. That's how I see myself in you, because you show more of you. But if I want, how do you balance between that and also knowing what to keep private? Because now people are sharing everything.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you should just draw a line based on how comfortable you are. How much are you comfortable sharing? Yeah, personally, the things I'd love to share, but then you're like, no, I think this is too much, honestly. So then I'll...
But like, I hear you. It's just, it's based off of what you define for yourself as personal and private and sacred. And that's where you end up drawing the line. Is it safe to say it's the same thing?
Yeah, it's
for
the
you?
same
yeah?
thing.
Yeah. And what would you like to tell a young lady or a young gent who's about to join social media, like you did a few years ago? Actually, it's like 8 years ago. So you were still in your teens. 18.
Yes. Yeah.
So, and now they're joining quite young, quite young. So what would you tell a young person who's about to open an Instagram account today? A 13-year-old, let's say.
Focus on your truth.
But does a 13-year-old know what their truth is? I'm older than that. I'm not gonna say. But I'm not, like, I'm struggling to know what that means and understand, and every day that shifts. What my truth is, you know, as we grow. So how do you know what your truth is?
I think for a 13-year-old, it's good to also have sort of like a one-on-one mentorship kind of thing.
Yeah.
So if you meet someone...
It's called parents. Get your parents' approval. Yeah.
If you meet a teenager who wants to join social media, wants to be on Instagram, be honest with them. Tell them this is what you could expect. These are the positives, these are the negatives. Equip them with the tools that they need, so that even if they decide to join behind your back, at least they are not as naive as somebody who's joining in without knowing what to expect. Yeah.
I hear you. And I think even that should start from when they are 6 months. No, I'm not kidding, but making sure that these values are consistent. So it's not when they say, Mom, I want to join social media, that you're like, wait a sec, what are our values? Okay, self-confidence, self-love, respect others. So I think to be consistent, that's a beautiful point. What would you say to a 13-year-old?
For me, I'd say currently we don't have the culture to be aware of yourself, like who you are, your purpose, and how you take things in. So I'd say take time off social media as often as you can, and then also try and meditate as often as you can. Meditation actually literally cures everything. No,
changed your life. Yeah,
yeah, it changed my life, because I have been affected by social media, and I've been able to pick myself up. How? By meditating and being aware of myself and detaching from that. Knowing that, like I said earlier, it's a show. Everyone is putting out a show. So you, be authentic, but then remember that what people are showing shouldn't be your life. You know, you can be on your path, they can be on their path.
Right.
Yeah.
Their highlights and you're behind the scenes, they're behind the scenes, your highlights. You never really know what people are showing.
Yeah, another one I push is never compare your morning face with someone's selfie on Instagram that has been edited in 3 different
That's true. If we showed how we looked before this show, wouldn't be the same. Thank you, ladies. Now, after this, I'm going to ask you guys what that inside joke was, because I've not let that go. I want to also laugh. I want to laugh like you guys were laughing just now. I hope that this show inspired you and that it taught you something about self-love, self-confidence, and some of the traps that you may not foresee when entering social media. So be cautious, right? Be attentive to what you're feeding your mind and your spirit. Ladies, thanks again. I can't wait to follow you. I hope you'll accept my request in your private Instagram account. Now today being a Wednesday, we are crushing on Irene Kendi, the immediate former DP of the student organization of University of Nairobi, and she's also the first female to sit in that position. She also received an outstanding female mentor award in the Women in Red Leadership Award ceremony this year, 2018. So congratulations, we honor you and we celebrate you today. Now don't forget to follow us on social media, okay? I know we've talked a lot about the traps of social media, but I promise our page is very full of positive images, and we're celebrating life and beauty and our guests. So follow us, that's Living With This, on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and we'll be back tomorrow to talk about health and what you need to be doing for your heart. So you want to listen, okay? We'll be back tomorrow, 8 a.m. sharp. Bye.